What's up guys, Freak Bag here. Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to my garage. We've got the Camaro behind me. And today, if you saw the title and thumbnail of this video, hopefully the thumbnail was, a stupid picture of me holding up the stock exhaust. The suitcase muffler. It's over there in the corner. You can see the tip of it right there. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about the first major and honestly the only real modification I've made to my car is the MBRP Axle back exhaust. So this is kind of it's kind of a muffler delete, but it does have muffler resonator combos on it. I opted for the stainless steel option, or not the stainless steel option. So there's the potential that it could rust, but I don't really drive the car in the rain and I don't drive it in the snow at all. So the snow and the salt, I'm not really worried about it, to be honest. And I've heard that it doesn't really make a whole difference in the sound. But I got the stainless tips. They look really good. Yeah, so today we're just gonna be talking about that. It's a gorgeous day outside, so yeah, let's get to it. All right, so to the back of the car, we have the MBRP exhaust tips. You can kind of see how they look here. And I tried to get them as even as I could when I was lining them up. But if we get underneath the car here, you can see, so they are an axle back system. So you kind of cut, let me see here. You cut right by that, where that first clamp is, that you see there. So where it goes flat right there, they didn't need to make it flat. It would have cleared, but they just did. So you cut right by the strut, or the differential brace, this whole black piece here. And then the whole system just bolts up. And then it splits off right here into the two exhaust tips. So it's 2 exhaust pipes to 4 tips. So it's 2 pipes to quad tip. It gives you, it's a decent look from underneath, and it's not as bulky. The stock muffler on these looks like a giant suitcase. I'll throw up the picture of me holding it. But yeah, honestly, the system was $600. For $600, I mean, I've had people tell me that this system sounds really good and they didn't know it was $600. You can spend for about the same sound, maybe it might be a little bit of a better sound, but you're spending double the money, if not a little over that, for a Corsa or a Borla exhaust, and I didn't really want that. I didn't want to spend the money on it, and if this sounds good, I was looking for that raw, muscle car, deep-throated V8 sound, and this does a really good job. So why don't we go ahead and it's been on my channel before, but we'll give her a cold start. It's never a bad time. It's about 70 degrees outside, so it might not be a super aggressive cold start, but here we go. So yeah, that's the cold start on it. I think in the last video you heard me driving it around a little bit. It's pretty tame. If you keep it under 2,000 RPM, it's definitely, you know, it's not quiet. But like, we leave for Cars and Coffee at 7 a.m. I haven't had any complaints from the neighbors. As long as you just don't rip down the streets, which we live in a neighborhood, so probably shouldn't be anyways, to be honest. But yeah, let's get some clips of driving it on the inside, and I will give you guys my thoughts. All right, guys, we're in the car. Probably a similar shot that you saw the last time. We're in the same shades. Yes, these are my favorite pair of shades, so I do wear them quite often. But yeah, I don't know if you can really hear the exhaust from inside the car, but that's kind of what we're gonna go for in these clips. This is kind of my review, just kind of talking about it, because I like to make videos that I would personally watch or look up. And when I was looking for an exhaust, I looked up a lot of reviews of different exhausts, and you know, you can find the ones that are made by the huge channels, but I always looked for one of those and then one of, you know, a smaller channel like myself making a video. So just kind of talking about it. Main reason I wanted an exhaust, the stock exhaust that comes on these Camaros really isn't bad. It really isn't. The cold start seems pretty aggressive on the stock exhaust, and then it cools down, or it calms down quite a bit fast. A little too fast for my liking personally. So that's why I wanted something that, you know, once it's warmed up, what I like about this is even when I like pull into the lot or pull into the driveway, or, you know, the Cars and Coffee or whatever I'm going to, it has that deep rumble, but it's not super loud, but it's noticeable, and that's what I wanted. And I didn't want something that was like straight pipe, super obnoxious, because let's be honest, that's fun while you're driving it, but then if you take the car on any sort of an extended trip, like sometimes I drive this car for 2-3 hours at a time and it's just at highway speeds, that gets annoying. So I wanted to make sure it wasn't something that droned either. That was a big thing for me, and this doesn't really drone. It drones maybe a little bit if you're going 80, but if you're going 80, there's also wind noise and road noise, and if you just turn your whatever music you're listening to up a little bit, you don't even hear it. I mean, it's really not something that I would even consider like a complaint, to be honest. There are certain like RPM ranges that are not like my favorite sound, but it's not horrible either. So you can hear me. This is about 2,000 RPM. Shifted there at 2,500. It's not obnoxiously loud, but it has some noise to it, where the stock exhaust, you would have to get on it and at least over 4,000 RPM before you could even really hear it, to be honest. And I know that this is a little bit louder outside than it is inside for sure, but it sounds really good inside, and when you're just cruising like right now, I hear the exhaust, but it's not annoying. It's not droning, and I'm cruising at about 50, and we're at just above 1,000 RPM, so like I can hear it, especially when I, you know, touch the gas a little bit, I can hear it more. But yeah, honestly, like, you know, for the money, I don't think you can beat this exhaust. For $600, I did the install myself too. All I did was jack the car up, which jacking the back of this car up is really easy. You just go to the diff brace, jack it up, and I put it on wheel blocks that I made myself. They're just like wheel cribs, wooden wheel cribs. And you could also, if you have those like Rhino ramps, which I have now, but I didn't have at the time for like doing oil changes, just back it onto those. You get under there, sawzall right at the diff brace, and you're good to go. You just clamp it on. It took me and two friends like 2.5 hours to do it. And to be honest, a lot of that was we didn't have any of those skinny wrenches to tighten the bolts on the tips, because you have to tighten those separately. You clamp all the exhaust on, and then you put the exhaust tips on last. And trying to get the socket between it, that took us probably an hour, to be honest. This job is not very hard. I would recommend having one other person just to help you under the car maneuver, especially getting rid of the stock exhaust, because it's just big and it's not exactly like super heavy. It's not light, but it's big and bulky, and trying to like slide it out from under the car, it just helps to have somebody else there to balance it, to be honest. But I mean, as far as like ease of install goes, out of five being super hard to do, I'd say it's a 2. Just make sure you have a Sawzall, or you can use one of those like pipe clamp cutters. I've got one of those, and it'll give you a little bit of a cleaner cut. I used that to go around to mark the pipe, and then I did the Sawzall just because it was faster. And to be honest, one of my cuts was not perfectly flat. It like angled a little bit. I don't think it really has mattered once the exhaust slips over. And also just make sure you measure it out. But these are all common things you should, know if you're going to be doing something like this. But just measure it, make sure you cut accurately. Yeah, other than that, I mean, honestly, out of 10, I would probably give this exhaust, I'd say an 8 to a 9. Honestly. I mean, I've had people, every Cars and Coffee I've gone to, I've had people telling me how great my exhaust sounds, and I was not expecting that. So, if you want to turn some heads and you want a little bit of a louder style, but you don't want to break the bank, MBRP. And if you want it even louder, they have a race exhaust, which I think is literally no muffler. Like, if you remember the clip on the back, it looks like those like tubes. Those are the mufflers. So they have one that just doesn't have any mufflers. Now, the only thing I'm worried about is if I do eventually put long tube headers on the car and they're catless, it might be too loud, but we'll see. I don't know. I mean, it could be a little louder and I still wouldn't complain, to be honest, but we will see. But once the car is fully warmed up, coolant temp is looking good. Let me check on oil temperature. Yeah, we're getting there. We're almost at temp. We're a little bit more throttle. Now, what's nice about this exhaust is if you're driving around and you've got an automatic Camaro, which I am a chump, I've got the automatic, but I got a wife that doesn't know how to drive manual and doesn't want to learn, so if she ever needs to drive this or wants to drive it, I'd rather just have the automatic. But if you ever want to actually have fun with the exhaust, you put it in manual mode and you just hang the shifts for a little bit longer. But what's kind of nice is in drive, just driving around, I mean, it shifts early enough that it's really not that loud. So it's a pretty good exhaust system, I will say. But yeah, let's go ahead and get onto this road here, and I will give it hopper in manual mode. I love doing the downshifts too. When you come up to the stop, I downshifted way too late. But yeah, let's see what my transmission temperature's at. The transmission temp on these things takes forever to get up. Between 2,000 and 3,000, give it a little gas. I don't know if you guys can hear those pops. let's all be honest here. We care about what it sounds like on the outside. But if it sounds good on the inside, and if you're the driver, when are you going to hear it on the outside? Just my thoughts. But we're going to go ahead. The next clip is going to be me in a parking lot. I'm going to set the camera up behind it, get a couple revs, and yeah, then I'll probably record the outro and just talk about my thoughts. But overall, if you're watching this and you're using this as sort of like a buyer's guide, I definitely recommend it. I'm very happy with my purchase. I've put about 5,000 miles on it since I put the exhaust on. Taken 2 trips that were each like 3-4 hours long, and it never got annoying. So yeah, all right, on to the rev bombing. All right, we are back in my garage. Yeah, that is going to be my review on the MBRP Axle back exhaust. I would give it a solid 8.5, 9 out of 10. For the money, I really don't think you can beat it. Turns heads at car shows, sounds good while you're cruising, sounds good under throttle. Overall, really wakes the Camaro up and makes it feel like the muscle car that it deserves to be. So with that, guys, make sure to drop a like, comment down below what you think of the exhaust. Would you buy this for your Camaro? Are you gonna buy it for your Camaro? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Let me know. Just put a comment down. Subscribe to the channel. We just passed 220 subscribers, which is honestly crazy. I've been at sub 100 or 200 for like 5 years, but I haven't really been consistently uploading. But yeah, I will go ahead and see you guys in the next one. Peace.